Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me tonight. Welcome to my Stamp and Sip Live. It's Friday night, May 2nd. I am Michelle Solis from This Must Be Ink, and I am a Stampin' Up! Independent demonstrator in Seekonk, Massachusetts. So I love sharing my paper crafting projects with you. And tonight I am going to share this three-dimensional project. This is called the Paper Bouquet Kit, and it's a new release from Stampin' Up! So it is just as beautiful in person as it is online. So this is what the kit looks like. Beautiful bouquet of paper flowers, and it does make an absolutely beautiful bouquet in real life. So there's a lot of flowers included in this kit, and they're super easy to make. But while I was making mine, I did make some mistakes. So I wanted to show you guys how to make them and give you some tips so you don't make the same mistakes that I did. Okay? All right. So I'm going to set this aside. Let me put this back here. All right. Put that back there. So get that out of the way. And okay, so we need to, first of all, take a sip of whatever we brought to share tonight. So this is Cop Winery, one of their white wines that I purchased at Christmas time when I was down there in Florida. It's a bubbly wine. Okay, so we are going to switch our camera view here to here. There we go. And bring our camera down a bit so you can see what is going on. This way, this way, this way. This way? No, this way. There we go. Okay. All right, so this is the Paper Bouquet Kit. It comes with instructions. So there's the pretty bouquet. When you open this up, you're going to see all these different instructions. So there are 7 different flowers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then there are also, there's 6 different flowers. 6 different flowers? 6 different flowers, because you have leaves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, 6 flowers, sorry. And then you've got some leaves that you will also put together. All right. So as soon as I saw this kit live and in person, I knew I had to have it because it is just so pretty. And it is exactly what it describes itself as being. All right. So we're going to have 6 different flowers and some leaves. And I'm going to show you tonight how to put the flowers together. So we're going to do the 6 flowers, and every one of the flowers starts the same way. So you're going to start with a wire. You're going to then bend the wire and put the bead on. And then you're going to close that up by twisting the wire. Then you're going to add the crepe paper middle of the flower. And you're going to glue all this together with a glue gun. Okay, so if you don't have a glue gun, you can use liquid glue or another type of glue. You're just going to have to wait for it to dry in between. All right, so each flower uses one of these wires. And the only tools that I had to use with this was a bone folder, and I had a little pair of pliers. So what we're going to do is we're going to bend the top of the wire. So I just bent it so that it looked like the picture, kind of like a U. And then we're going to add our bead. And holding the bead at the top of the U, we're going to bring the 2 ends together, and we're going to twist that. Okay, so you can twist this with your fingers. But when you get down to the end, you probably are going to want some type of a little plier to make sure that that end isn't sticking out and sharp. Okay. Then you should get something that looks like this. All right, but you can see that my bead is kind of falling down. So if that happens, you want to hang onto your bead and take your pliers, and you're going to just kind of squeeze your wire so that it tightens around the bead. Well, I'm not doing such a good job. Hang on. Oh, 1 second. Can't get a hold of it. All right, so there we go. So you just want to tighten then this end of the wire so that the bead is staying at the top, and then just straighten it out. Okay. All right, if he falls down, it's not the end of the world because you're going to add crepe paper around that, which is going to hold it. All right, so you got this. Now we're going to add the crepe paper middle. So what we're going to do is look at the first flower, which is number 1. On your directions, it's going to show you what petals you need. So for flower number 1, it shows you 3 of the white petals. So we've got that. We've got 3 white petals. And then you're going to use a yellow bead, which we did. You're going to use one of the yellow crepe paper middles. Now, this was my first mistake. I didn't realize that there were small ones and large ones until I got to flower number 3. So just so that you understand, you've got to look at your directions and see the sizes that you're using. There are small green, I don't know, what would these be called? Like the end of the bud? There are small ones and large ones. So make sure that when you're pulling your pieces for each flower, that you're pulling the ones that are the correct size. So this flower uses a small yellow crepe paper. So that's a small, this is a large. You can see the difference there. Okay. All right, so we're going to have the small one. And what we're going to do is we're going to hold this and we're going to add some hot glue to the bottom of our bead. Then we're going to take our crepe paper middle and push that onto the hot glue carefully so you don't burn yourself. And then you're going to, wind this around. So holding the end, you're going to wind this around the bead. And you're just going to create the middle of your flower. Just keep going around and around until you get to the end. And once you get to the end, you'll add a little bit more hot glue. And then fold that over so that it sticks together. So now you've got the middle of your little flower. Okay, can you see that? You've got the middle of your flower. All right, so now you've got your petals. So you've got 3, and what it shows you on the directions is that with your petals, you're going to take a pen or a bone folder and you're going to shape your petals. So what I did was just took them in my hand, and with my bone folder, I just slid my bone folder along each petal, holding the petal in between my finger, my thumb, and my bone folder, and just giving that a little bit of shape. So the one in the middle, I wanted to do really nice and curly. So I did it I did it a little bit harder so that it'll get nice and curly. And then the second one, I don't want quite as curly, so maybe not do it quite so hard. Just a little bit softer turn there. So it's not quite as curly as that one. You can see how that'll fit together. And then this last one, I just did the very tips of the petals. So that they just bent in a little bit. So you can see, it's hard to see with the white, but you can see you'll have different amounts of folding in. Then you've got your little green piece that goes on the outside. Now again, you've got two sizes. So you've got a small green and a large green. Okay. Once again, I didn't realize that until I got a little bit further into the directions. And so I used some of the wrong ones. So right now I've got one large one left and all the rest are small ones. So we're just going to make do with what we've got. But word to the wise, make sure that you're checking which size of everything you're going to use for which flower. So the little green piece we're also going to do with our bone folder. Give it a little bit of shape so that the little petals of that are folded, and that's going to go counter to what your flower is, where it's folding in. These you want to put on this way so that it folds, so that it's coming out. Okay, so to put the flower together, you're going to hold your little inside piece and you're going to put some hot glue on the very base of that middle flower. So you're going to put a little bit of hot glue all the way around. Then you're going to put on your first petals down your stem, and that should go over the little twisty part. And that should then hot glue to the base of your, what is that called? The interior of your flower, the inside of your flower. Okay, so you'll get something that looks like that. Then you're going to put your second petal on. So you're going to turn this again and you're going to put some glue on the base of that one. Put on the second layer. Go over the twisted part of your wire right to the back of that. So now your flower looks like this. Some little strings here from our glue. And then you'll put the third petal on. So again, a little bit of hot glue. Third set of petals. You can try to offset them a little bit. And go over our twisted wire. And there we go. We've got our little white flower. Okay. So what now I will do is put this piece on, and remember, I got my strings here. Remember that you want this to go opposite of that. So pick this up. So instead of going with, where it's folded forward, instead of that going around the flower, that way you want it to go this way. So it sticks up. Once the bud opens, those little green leaves are going to fold back. Okay, so then you should get a flower that looks like this, and the base of it should be open, and then the flower should look like that. Pretty. All right, so that's flower number 1. We'll sit that over there. Flower number 2 is yellow, and it has 3 petals. Again, you want to make sure that you're looking at your directions and counting how many petals for each flower. So this one has 3 petals. It's kind of like a tulip. That's going to use a dark bead and a small dark crepe paper piece and a large green piece. I have one large one left, so we'll use that. We've got already done our bead, and then we should have our small black crepe paper. Oh, I just blew my wet petals away. There we go. All right, so again, we're going to put some hot glue on our bead. Bring our crepe paper onto that. Hi, Maria. And then twirl it around. Yeah, these flowers are beautiful. Just as pretty as I thought they were going to be. Okay, once you get to the end, you're going to put some more glue, trying not to burn your fingers. Okay, and then we're going to give our petals some shape. So the middle petals, again, I'm going to do a little bit harder. And then the second one, not so hard. And then the last one, just the ends of the petal I'm going to do. There we go. And then this one already has a little bit of shape to it. I think that's okay. All right, so we're going to hang on to this and get some glue at the base of our flower middle. I wish I could remember what the name of the middle of the flower is. Okay, then we're going to get our first petals on. Like that. Just push it up underneath the middle there. Then you'll get a little bit more glue. And put on the second ones. And again, you want to offset them a little bit. Just make sure they get glued together. Oops, I glued my petal in there. Oops. And then the last one. Get your last petals on. Trying not to glue your petals inside there. And just hold that. And you don't want it to be tight. This one you want to be kind of floppy. It's a floppy little flower. And then we'll get the green of the bud. Remember, that's going the opposite way, folding out the opposite way onto the base of the flower without burning yourself. And there you go. So now you've got your little floppy tulip flower. Super pretty. So inside, if you want these to be a little bit more full, you can bend these crepe paper pieces back a little bit, make it look a little more fluffy in there. All right, so that's flower number 2. Flower number 3 is this pink one. And I will tell you that I made a boo-boo on this one because for some reason my eyes saw 3 petals, but this one is only 2. So again, just be careful when you're pulling out your pieces that you're following your directions. This one is 2 petals. It's going to make 3 pink flowers. In my case, I'm only making 2 because I used 3 petals for the first one. So this one has a yellow bead for the inside, and again, a large green piece. I'm using a small because I used all my green ones. And then it's got a long yellow piece, which I do have. There we go. Okay, so those are all our pieces. Once again, we're going to start with our center. So we'll just put some glue on our bead. And this time we've got a big center. So we're going to just keep going around and around. Until you get this nice full center of this flower. I just kind of pull it so it's kind of covering up the entire bead. And just keep going around. All right, when we finally get to the end, we add a little bit more glue. And there's our center. I love these ones with the big, long crepe paper thing. They look nice and full. Okay, so again, we're going to take our petals and give them a little bit of dimension with our bone folder. And maybe a little bit more with that. So pretty. And then the green piece, again, you want to make it fold a little bit. Okay, so we're going to take our base of our flower and get some glue on there. Put our first petals on. Bring that down. Again, be careful you don't glue your flower in there. I've done that a couple of times because they're long and floppy. They want to get stuck in there. Okay, so you just glue that right up to the base. Flip it around, add some more glue. Put on the next ones. Again, careful you don't glue your petals into the center. And you get this nice little floppy flower with the yellow center. Super pretty. Okay, now this one, I'm going to put our little leaves on. A little bit more glue. Get our leaves on there. And we're all set with our pink flower. Really cute. They're pretty when they're in the bouquet all together. Really pretty. The colors all complement each other. So that's our pink flower. Okay, flower number. We're going to skip the leaves for the moment. We're going to do flower number 5. There he is. It's this blue one. I wanted to say this is cloud cover. It's a really pretty blue. You need 3 petals for that one. You need a small black crepe paper and a dark bead. And then you need your little green piece. Okay. So we're going to make the center again. Just the same way. Whoever thought up the crepe paper centers was a genius. Crepe paper works beautifully for this. And these pieces are all already cut for you. You just have to pop them out. And you just want to be gentle with them because they are paper. Okay, so we're going to then give our petals some shape. These all remind me of tulips. This shape of petal. And then the last one. And then we're going to give some shape to our little green piece. There we go. Okay, so some glue on our flower middle. And get the little curly ones on there. Again, be careful you don't glue them right into the center. Just push that up to the base of your flower so that it sticks. Then turn it and add a little more glue for the second set. And I kind of offset these. So trying to get this petal to go in between these two. Oh, I've got glue all over me. Hang on. I've got like little strings of glue everywhere from the hot glue. Okay. And then the last set of petals. The one thing I don't like about the hot glue is the stringiness. All right. And the last set of petals here. And then we get our little leaves on. Hi, Carol. Thanks for joining. So we get our little leaves. Oops, I can't pick it up. To create the base. There we go. So then we've got this little blue flower. I love the color of this one. Super pretty. And again, just make the inside, bend them back a little bit so it looks a little bit more dimensional and alive. There you go. All right, so that's 4. Number 5 is this beautiful pink one. So this one If you might be hard to tell, but this has got two different sizes. So 3 petals, 1 large and 2 small. By the time I got to this flower, I had been paying more attention and realized that there were different sizes and things. So you've got 1 large, 2 small. We're going to use the yellow bead because it has the small yellow crepe paper insert. And then your green piece, one of the small ones for that. Okay, so we'll start with our center again. I don't think, though, you really can mess this up too much. I mean, they're going to be pretty. They're going to be pretty no matter what. And in my kit, I got some extra petals and a couple extra wires. So I just made some extra flowers. And just used it all up. Okay, so there's our middle. We will give our petals some shape now. So the small petals are going to go in the middle, or they're going to go on first. Again, I'm doing the ones that go first, I'm doing a little tighter than those. And then this last piece, I'm going to just do the ends of the petals. So it looks like that, and that will layer up real pretty. And then your green piece, just give it a little bit of a bend there. Okay, so we're going to add some glue to the base of the middle and get our first set of petals on all the way down onto that middle. We want to just slide it up so that it touches the glue and gets stuck up there. Okay, then flip it over again. Add some more glue. Add the next ones. This is again the small piece. And I want to kind of offset it with those other petals. Try to get them kind of in between the ones that were already on there. Look, I already love this flower. Look how purity that is. So pretty. All right, one more set of petals. I don't know what I think this might be strawberry slush, this color. I'll have to look at the colors. So pretty. And then this last set of petals. And then we will get our little leaves on. There we go. So this is our pink one. Look at that. So pretty. Love that. Okay. Last one is orange. I think this might be Timid Tiger. And we're going to use a dark bead. Wait, got strings again. 2 sets of petals. It's the orange, nice big flower. Then you should have a large green and then a long black crepe paper middle. Okay. So we'll just hang on to our bead and get some glue on there. Hi, Julie. Yeah, it's a beautiful kit. Yeah, the minute I saw it at Onstage, I said, oh, I'm going to have that. It's beautiful. So I'll just twirl this around. I think the hardest thing in this kit were the leaves, and I will show you those in just a minute. All right, I'll just glue this down. Okay, and then, oh, forgot to do my petals, almost. Just give these guys a little bit of shape. Again, the one for the middle, I'm doing a little bit harder, so it curls a little bit more. And then this one, I'm going to just do the tips. On there. So you can see how it's going to layer. And when I'm saying offsetting, what I'm saying is so that your petals aren't all, they'll look like single petals if you do that, but if you offset it a little bit and they go in between the other petals, it looks a little bit more full. So I think this one I want to give a little bit more curve. And you can get them to curl a little bit more, just like when you're doing curling ribbon. You do it a little harder, it curls up a little bit more. And then just some curling for that. All right, now we're ready. We'll get some glue on the middle. Put on our first petals. You have to get over that little twist that you did in the wire. Just get that up to the base. And then some more glue for this one. And we'll try to offset it a bit. Strings. Okay, and then we'll just get the little leaves on. Like that. Pretty. And then just fluff up the middle a little bit so it looks a little more open and full. There we go. All right, so the leaves, I have to tell you, these were not my favorite thing of the whole kit. This was the hardest part. Okay, so let me talk to you about the leaves. There are actually 3 different leaves, but I think I made the other ones. Okay, so there's this one, which is like a crepe paper. And then these that are cardstock almost. They're very hard, like a thick cardstock. And then this one, which I already made all of those and put them in the bouquet. But they're all made similar way. So this crepe paper one, it tells you want to fold this in half. And so I did it with my bone folder. I made a nice crease there. And then when you open this up, you can see your crease. Your goal is to get this wire in here, which sounds super easy. So I did some glue down there, and I put on my wire. And on this one, I didn't like the look of the glue. So I closed this up. And then I just opened it a little bit. So I held the wire and opened this side. And then I held the wire and opened that side. But I didn't really want the wire exposed. So I kind of crinkled it at the top. Kind of made it like a little crinkle at the top so that the wire wasn't really exposed. If you can see that it's just kind of a fold over the wire, if that makes any sense. Okay, these were a little bit more difficult because they're very, they're really thick, but it does show that you're supposed to score these. So I did score them. And then I just bent these sides in with my fingers just to give them a little bit more, make them look a little bit more 3D and not so flat. Just down the middle of the leaf, just playing with it and giving it some character. Okay, and then again, you want to get the glue in the middle and put your wire on. Try not to burn yourself. So this one was a little bit more difficult to shape for me. So I, again, just held the wire and kind of bent these back. Because I just didn't want to see all that wire exposed. So then you get something like that. So you can still see the wire in there, but you don't see the glue as much if you kind of fold it in, and you get like a little bit more three-dimensional looking leaf. Okay, so I'm going to put this up a bit, bring in my bouquet, and let's add these last flowers in here. I don't know if I can get tall enough here for you guys to see it. Bend this a little bit. Hopefully you guys can see. All right, so we're going to add these last flowers in here. Oh, too many pinks on that side. Let's put pink on this side. And another, another orange. I think the orange was the one that I ended up with extra. Yes, it was. So I have an extra orange. Very colorful. Another pink. And another yellow, maybe over here. What's nice about this is you can bend the wire and make them a little bit shorter if you want, or so you can see which ones you want to stick up. And then another white one. Let's put a white one over here. And then our last little blue one. I think we only got 2 blue ones. Oh no, 3 blue ones. All right, and then we'll get our leaves in there. And our last little leaf. Okay. Well, those of you that are coming to, oh, this guy didn't go in. Hang on, I missed the vase completely. And this guy too. I missed the vase. There we go. Everybody that is coming to our event on May 24th will get to see this up close and in person. But I have to tell you that it is really, really pretty. And I'm going to love having this on my kitchen table for the summer. And I don't have to worry about it losing its leaves and wilting. It's going to just be beautiful all summer long. The colors are so pretty for the summer. Okay. I am not an artist, Maria. I just followed the directions. Oh my goodness. All right, I can't figure out how to get back over here. What's happening? Oh my goodness, I can't make myself big. All right, it's okay. All right, so that's it for me tonight. And if you have any questions about this kit or any problems with it, certainly message me and I am happy to help. But I really enjoyed doing this kit and really enjoyed it. And I know I'm going to enjoy it all summer because it is just so pretty. Okay, so that's it for me tonight, you guys. Thanks for joining me. And hopefully you will join me again next week. It will be May 9th. And I don't know what's going to inspire me next week. We'll have to see. It's always a surprise. So everybody have a great night and take care. Enjoy your weekend and stay crafty, my friends.